That's that. That's what that is. Trans-Canada Highway. In our backyard. It's close enough for us to see it, and in the morning we hear it. How's everybody?
Happy to have you join us. We're wearing our swag.
Swag. Swag. We just wanted to make the Friday night thing maybe a regular occurrence, and also maybe bringing on some guests again. Remember we did Friday Night Live, where we had a whole Steve Picard was with us once.
That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Henry Gross. I think we had about 10 guests. And we're still going to rehash those interviews in pieces because people have been asking us, oh, does he talk about this? And I'm going, well, first of all, the whole thing's on the internet. Oh yeah, let me get Shannon.
I'll set up here.
There, hold on, let me see if I can find. Should be able to find
Hi
you.
Maria, hi Roger, hi Kim.
Oh, Maria, you're always there.
Hi Christopher.
Thank you.
Nice to have you join us again. I recognize some familiar names.
Yeah. See, this is the area. See, if you have something like that, you go here, and then you do that.
Okay.
We had a problem last week. Someone said something rude to Shannon. It wasn't very nice.
What the heck?
And someone had come to her.
I'm here to support.
Yeah, someone had come on and say, hey man, that's not cool. Shannon's never had a comment like that before because she hasn't been on here. Because anyone who's been on YouTube long enough, you're going to get someone who's just a jerk. And so anyway, I just showed Shannon how to remove people from the channel. Basically, it says remove this person from the channel. And then one day, we had someone asking last week about the same thing over and over again. We kept saying, I don't know. And they kept asking the same question. And we're on the verge of basically saying you're kind of disrupting the whole thing here. No, I don't like banning people from the channel, but we will if we have to. I don't want to start off on that basis, but I needed to get that out of the way anyway because I'm not sure why they did that.
Yeah, I also think it's really neat how we're all kind of coming together here, seeing a lot of familiar names that pop up. Yeah. And also the fact it's great that, on the feed here, you go back and forth chatting with each other.
That's
It's
nice.
kind of neat to see how, you answer each other's questions it's neat to see that.
Because sometimes I don't get to them. Now and then it's rare. What's this one here? What's that one? Welcome to. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it's YouTube. You can't go into that now.
So Barry says, how's your new home? Slowly coming together. We just redid countertops and backsplash and the sink, faucet in the kitchen.
All the lights. We have a tray ceiling. It's a custom home. Don't make it sound like we're rich. We're not. But it's someone in 2006. How old is this house?
2006, yes.
Who wanted a custom home, so they have a tray ceiling. So there's a row, and then another row, and another row. And the ceiling's really high, but the colors, well, we'll show you. This is an example of this. Hold on. Whoa, look at this ceiling. Look at that.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Sorry about that.
It's pretty detailed. Are you just waving around that screen again? Come on.
Crazy.
Kevin says hi, Shannon. Hi, John. Dennis, hi to you guys from Indiana. Believing Rebel, hello from South Carolina. Happy Friday.
Never been to Indiana or South Carolina. I've been to mostly only, and even though we're out east now, we're going to go to Massachusetts and Maine. We're going to go to New York, but we can't really travel right now because Shannon has an autoimmune disease, and we don't want to be stupid in general about traveling. Oh, look, I did this stupid thing on. Hold on. Sorry, guys, I have to move this. Sorry. Making everyone seasick. So I've been to all the western states, but not to the eastern states, even though I grew up in eastern Canada and my family was poor. How poor were they? They didn't leave the country. So there you go. I had to do that when I was an adult.
Dwayne says, I really enjoyed your video about the late singers like Jerry Rafferty.
Oh, thank you. Jason Close wrote that. Shannon's starting to write a lot of them as well. She's got an Ace of Base one, which is, you learned a lot with that Ace of Base. Yeah. Whatever happened to Ace of Base, because they haven't really been a band in a long time. That's coming, by the way, on that channel in 2 days. We're going to start loading Rock History Book, not this channel. Rock History Books are other. This is where we put our full-length interviews on, because people have been bitching, and I can understand. Stop separating your interviews into 10 pieces. Well, that's what we do on this channel. It's a short-sighted. The longest things on this channel are these live feeds, right? And sometimes live interviews. The other channel will have the complete interviews, except when they're Canadian, they'll go on the Canadian channel. Like Mike Levine's going, the entire interview's going on the Canadian channel. I'm talking to Rick Emmett, I think, on Thursday for, I think, my 9th time. 8th time, I think. I've talked to Rick a lot.
So Rick says, nice to see you both live once again. Roger R says, looks like chocolate and toffee from a box of chocolates. I think he's looking at the roof.
It does.
Okay, that was funny.
It does.
That was good.
Because it looks like I gotta show you guys a better look. Hold on. I'll see it. Take it off there. See it. Look at. Can you see it? There you go. I can't lose my orientation. See, it's just an interest. I don't know if I can't tell what I was showing you there. It's just a beautiful, because this is a walkout basement on this floor, and because it's a basement, it's not a low ceiling, but we don't want to make it look lower, so we're painting it all white. Everything's going white.
James says, good evening, Shannon and John. How are you doing this evening?
Hello, hello.
Art says, hi from Scotland, sending love.
Hi, Art. Hi, James.
City to City is a great album from Jerry Rafferty.
Yeah.
From Dwayne.
But as we had a guest last year who had worked with Jerry, and we mentioned this last week as well. That basically said Jerry couldn't go on stage unless he drank a lot. He had a major drinking problem, and someone had got mad at me. Said, "Why do you have to mention that all the time?" And I'm going, Jerry would probably be still alive if it wasn't for that. And Jerry, he was pretty prolific considering his condition. Coming from a long line of alcoholics, I realized that it can really get into the way of, as Dr. Phil would say, and I don't like promoting Dr. Phil because I don't like him, but he says if it gets in your way of you getting your stuff done, you might have a problem. So I think he could have released a lot more music. But it's cool that they posthumously released a brand new album of his, of stuff he hadn't finished or was hanging around.
Sierra says you need to make an interview with Jody Stevenson, a big star. He would be a wonderful person to learn from.
Jason just mentioned Big Star on the new video that we just released. Yeah, Jason's a great writer. We really appreciate having Jason on our team. Did you have to do?
Nope. And Christopher Cross would be a good interview too.
I tried with Christopher. I tried with Peter Cetera. No, I tried with Michael McDonald. Yeah, just recently tried Carlos Santana. Just an example. Carl Palmer tried with, but I knew I'd get Rick Emmett again because I probably know Rick better than most of the artists that I play, and I still really don't know him. But I probably know him better. I've interviewed him the most times. Who else we have next week? Just so that you know, Mickey Thomas is coming up, but we don't have a date yet. Rick Emmett's on Thursday. That won't be aired right away, but we'll try to get it up as fast. For our Canadian fans, we've got Colin James on Wednesday evening, or Wednesday 5:30 my time. I'll be interviewing him. And Chris de Burgh on Wednesday morning. But Chris de Burgh's only a 20-minute. He doesn't do long interviews. So we'll see what happens. And you know, there's someone right behind you, so you can't say, "Oh, I like talking to you." And because when I was talking to Joseph Williams of Toto the first time, I said, "Oh, we're at the half-hour mark. We never really checked how long you had." And he said, "Well, no, I can redo that one. I'll get a hold of that person. I'd rather talk to you." And I went, "Oh, that's so nice." But I hope you reschedule the other interview.
Art says he picked up Triumph Special Ed Edition metal vinyl rock and roll machine classic.
Yeah.
I'm a lucky boy.
Rock and roll machine. Yeah. They're a great band. I've got a few of their vinyls as I was going through my collection. I'll show you. Sorry, I have to do it again.
Orientation again.
So, there's the Signed Boston album by Brad Delp and Tom Scholz. That's some of my collection. We're still alphabetizing everything, and there's my two reel-to-reels. But I've got to find where my other records are, because all my records wouldn't fit in that in Calgary, and I certainly didn't give any of them away. So there's something going on. Oh, look, you can see it from our end. There you go.
Cool. Any chance of an interview with Richard Marx?
I tried reaching out to him when he released his book. I have to check to make sure I did send that email to get a hold of him. He's quite a funny guy. He's very, very funny. He's very quick, and we loved him in concert.
Would you consider doing an interview with Gino Vanelli?
I've got an interview with Gino Vanelli. I was going to say I don't own it. I didn't do it. I own it. My friend Steve Burgess gave me all his interviews. We're having a real hard time. It's either that Studer Reel to Reel needs a new head. This one, the TIAC here, plays too slow in the middle of the tape. It plays, so it needs an engine or something. I don't know what. So we don't have anything because the TIAC has a better head. We're having problems transferring them.
Melody says interview Kim Burley.
Yeah, Kimberly. I interviewed Kimberly. Kimball is the real name. I was waiting to get the other two, Rich Dotson and Ronnie King, to do a Stampeder special. So thank you for the reminder. If I can't get them, I'll just put the Kimberly interview up because he was just charming, just a really nice man. He married a radio lady. She's a former radio gal.
Dwayne says, I saw Colin James a few times live and met him.
The album I interviewed Colin for, I've only interviewed him once before. We got along really, really well, but everyone gets along with Colin James. He had recorded the album at the time, which would have been maybe 12, 14 years ago, in a place he said he thought was haunted. So that's a cool story. And I should look, I can't because my phone's recording this. But he was such a cool, I still have that interview. Yeah.
I would love a Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson interview.
Oh yeah, God. When I talk to Rick Emmett, maybe I'll. Well, hold on. Let me grab this. Andy Curran sent this to Chase when these are Neil Peart's actual drumsticks, as he says right there. And every single little rivet on there was made by Neil Peart. Every single little. So Andy Curran, who was the A&R guy, is also a rocker in Canada. A&R guy for Anthem Records, saw Chase do Tom Sawyer when he was 8, and then Neil had a chance to see it, and Chase got these drumsticks. Chase has now gotten right back to drumming very, very seriously. He's always been drumming, but he's really, really serious with it now. He's practicing hours a day again. So there you go.
Greetings from Belgium.
Hi.
Ronald.
Hi, Ronald.
Have you ever interviewed any surviving members of Foghat?
Oh yeah, Foghat. I had a friend. I tell the story all the time. I'm sorry if you've heard it already. What was his name? I forgot. It was at the local radio station, and God bless him. He was such a real tall guy, the nicest man you'll ever meet. Small town radio announcer, sounded like a small town radio announcer, but he was charming on the air. And he got Mike Dennis was his name, and he got on there and he says, "Here's Foghat," and he didn't know because you don't know, right? And he probably thought it was a takeoff of the dirty word, the 4-letter word. It was being careful. And I razzed him about that when I met him maybe a year or two later, because I was the radio groupie guy. So I got to know the radio announcers in the town that's an hour and a half from here now, because we're so close to it. Yeah.
I know how to get Geddy. Interview him with Grapes for Humanity.
I don't know what Grapes for Humanity is. But for instance, Rick Emmett, I'm interviewing under the umbrella of his poetry book. But I know Rick enough I can talk about anything, right? So it's nice that he's an author, but he really always was, because I think rockers kind of are. Listening to the Billy Joel channel on XM, really enjoying hearing him talk about, and he's very comfortable. He's obviously in his home, I think, because he's playing piano. Getting the stories behind the songs is just unbelievable. He is just such a poet. I just love Billy Joel.
Have you guys heard a new Yes album yet?
Yes, I've heard a few tracks from it. It was okay. It sounded like Yes. People are going around saying, "Oh, it's not Yes." It's well, it sounds like them. So I have no complaints. If they want to continue making music, all the power to them.
Torrin says, hey, hello, John and Shannon. Do you still communicate with Peter Cetera?
I've never communicated. No, I don't know Peter Cetera. I have that interview, but I didn't do it. Steve Burgess did it. He's the gentleman who gave me all his interviews. So that's the only reason we have Peter Cetera. Oh, Jeff Coffey. I was supposed to talk to him. Jeff sent me his album just before we left Calgary. I'd love to talk to him again. He's just a classy guy. Speaking of Chicago, Jason replaced Peter, and then after that, Jeff Coffey replaced Jason. Yeah.
Hi, John and Shannon. What was your fave story or part of the Jeff Porcaro book by Robin Flans?
I started interviewing Robin, and then we just lost the internet connection, and she said, I'm not sure if it's you or me. I said, Robin, I'm plugged into the router. It's definitely you. So we started doing it. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. She's a delightful lady. She's fun. She's a little kooky in a good way though. She's like fun, you know, she's loose. That's the kind of interviews you want. Robin's that type of personality. And there's a reason why she got to know so many drummers. It's because of who she is. She's delightful. But I never got around to rescheduling the interview. I had a lot of interviews that month, and I never got around to it.
Sierra had a question, said, how much do artists charge for interviews on average?
No, I don't pay for interviews. We never pay for interviews. I'm not sure why anybody would think that, but see, the thing with an interview, if they're retired and they're really not doing anything and they have nothing to push, it's because they don't mind having conversations with people. To them, it's kind of fun. I'll lower this a little bit. To them, it's kind of fun to talk to someone about the old times and what they did. So they'll do it just because it's fun. You know, I'm not going to say they're lonely. They're not. But who doesn't like to talk about one of the most exciting times of their life? But artists talk to you because, is that a mouth guard?
What? No, it's just a piece of paper.
Okay, I just saw this thing. I thought it was our son's mouth guard
No,
on the floor, and the dog likes them.
No, it's just paper.
If any of you guys have mouth guards and dogs, you'll know they love grabbing them.
Night guards, right?
Yeah. So usually they're selling something, and that's okay. Why you have to promote it. So they want to sell their product, and I want the interview. Everyone's happy. That's the exchange that happens, right?
Well, Gennaro says Adele has a new song, already 39 million views on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, it's Adele. She's earned that, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think she's a wonderful artist. We don't report on artists like Adele, but I play Adele. I just played "Rolling in the Deep" on my radio show, which I voice track. I still work for the station in Vancouver, even though I'm really far away from Vancouver now. Yeah, play her every night. Play a lot of artists that we don't cover on Move 103, the station I work for.
Is there a chance of interviewing Tom Cochrane?
I think so. I met him. I think I told the story before. I was working at a hotel, the Westin, raising money for the Christmas Bureau. All our shows were live at the hotel lobby, and Tom was doing a show, and he came in late at night. I was still there. I was talking to, I think, the doorman. You know, we're talking about dating younger women, and we were both dating someone like, I think, 7-8 years younger than us. And out of nowhere, Tom Cochrane said, "Hey man, what's going on here?" I turn around, I said, "Tom Cochrane." I didn't say that. He knows he's Tom Cochrane. So we talked for a little bit. He was very charming. Scotty Bowman came in that week. I remember the former coach of the Montreal Canadiens, and someone else, Frank Mills, Canadians will know Frank Mills, music box dancer. I just interviewed him, and I didn't ask him where he was staying. He just happened to be staying there. Yeah.
Art says he's been going down memory lane of late with ELO's New World Record. Great record.
Yeah. So many people consider that their best album. Out of the Blue is my favorite, the double album. To me, it's amazing that they put so much great music on that album.
This is nice. Thanks, Drummer 72. You have a great interview style, non-threatening but certainly engaging.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me. Thanks. I will say though, I will say that I'm afraid to listen to my earlier interviews. Like I mentioned this before when I was in Toronto trying to sell my syndicated show, Cross Canada Report, and not being a man yet. I was 26, 27, but I really wasn't a man yet. I was still very shy. And so I'm visiting these advertising agencies trying to sell my syndicated show, which I shouldn't have been hosting, but my ego wouldn't let someone else host that. So I got an interview because it was a big show with Glass Tiger, and I was so afraid. I'm afraid, and it was Alan Frew, their drummer, who left after the first album, and one of their guitarists. I don't know their other names, but they must have sensed that I was so nervous. And Alan Frew had the greenest eyes, but I didn't realize you could get colored contact lenses back then. But you could. Could you in the 80s? By the way, could you?
I used to wear colored
You
contacts.
used to when I met
had
you.
the green ones. I loved them.
Yeah, but he had green eyes. I remember going, his eyes are so green.
A lot of times you just wear it to enhance your natural color of what you have already.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Is there a chance of doing an interview with Robin Trower? This is Dwayne.
I think I might have tried a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even longer now. You know how it is, you think, oh, that was just last year, and you realize, no, that was 3 years ago. But yeah, I could look into that. I don't know a lot about Robin Trower. I had one friend in high school who loved his music, that was it. But that's what research is for, right?
Colin Hay from Men at Work would be a brilliant interview. He's very witty and intelligent.
Very witty. And you could tell, remember we were playing Johnny Be Good?
Yeah.
I was surprised that she knew that song, because I'm going, I wasn't a single, but then she told me, but I had the album, Business as Usual, so yeah, not a bad track. I just said that on the radio tonight. I said, I played the Down Under in the Vancouver show, and I mentioned him, and I just said, that album did not have a bad. Cargo wasn't as good, though. The follow-up, that album wasn't as good. I wasn't in radio for Business as Usual, but by the time Cargo came out, I was in radio. Yeah. Like anybody cares, I know.
Wendy says, when is favorite Michael Jackson album?
I agree with everybody. What do you think? Thriller.
Yeah, Thriller.
See, when things like Bad came out, I remember going, bad. I'm bad.
Yeah,
I remember going, that's so like, what? Are you tired? And I know it became a big hit. Smooth Criminal was cool.
That was actually one of my most favorite songs. Smooth Criminal.
Yeah. That's so inventive. But I mean, he's like Miles Davis. He would always surround himself with really, really good musicians. I mean, not like Miles Davis isn't a great musician, but he wasn't intimidated by and Michael Jackson was the same way. I'd like to get Greg Gaines, who was Michael Jackson's musical director and also was in Toto for an album and a tour or two. I'd like to interview him.
So Rick is asking, who have you not interviewed yet, but who you would love to interview?
Elton John, Paul McCartney.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to interview Neil Sean. Definitely Steve Perry, Tom Scholes. David Paich, I'm still working on. I'd like to interview David. I've covered Toto more than any other band. But I'm being advantageous. I mean, they're one of my favorite bands. I mean, I'd like to interview the 3 core members of Genesis, the current lineup: Mike Rutherford, Tony Banks, Phil Collins. This is a long. Carl Palmer. I've been trying to get him.
You've got like a long list.
It's crazy. It
goes on.
But Tom Scholes, I'd really like to have a conversation with him. He'd be an interesting chap. If anybody knows any of these people, wants to help me out.
Dale's asking, any encounters with Daniel
Lanois. We were just having a conversation and we were talking about Peter Gabriel and that inner circle, and someone asked me if I'd ever interviewed Daniel Lanois, and his solo stuff is good, and he has a look. Daniel Lanois has one of those looks, but I don't know. I don't even know if does he have a website. I don't know. I'd like to.
Whatever happened to the group called Orleans?
Oh, they're still around. We've got a series on them right now. You got to check out our channel. We've got 2 interviews with John Hall. One's currently on our channel, so they're still around. Larry Hoppin died, their lead singer, but they all sang. They had great harmonies. They didn't all sing, but John had a great harmonizing, and John wrote the songs. Him and his wife at the time. So,
Drummer R72 says, off to the movies to see Michael Myers chase that Activia lady around.
Oh yeah, that's Release. That's right. She's trying to take off his mask, Mike Myers' mask.
Oh, that's too funny.
She's trying to take off his mask in the commercial. I'd be surprised if that happens.
Charles, oh, hi, my fave two rockers, John Shannon. Hey.
Who's it?
Charles O.
Oh, hi. Hi, Charles. Rock on, man. It's so relaxing on Friday night when, by the time I'm slowly getting into Shannon's starting to write for us. We still have Jason writing for us. Chase puts all our interviews together. It just, I don't know if I would have been able to keep this going, doing it by myself, because before I was doing everything by myself and it was just too much work. I can't switch gears. We've talked about this on the channel, and our autistic daughter who's upstairs, she's 23, she's taught us about changing files and how difficult it is for an autistic child to change files. If I'm doing this, I want to continue doing this or at least finish it. Mm-hmm. And it was hard for me to do research an interview for a few hours, do an interview, cut it up into pieces, decide what's going to go in each individual. Oh, it's just, produce it. I was getting burnt out.
Well, Chase has been just amazing.
Crazy.
He's been crazy. I'm a file closer, so hopefully everything.
She's amazing. She's going to get me more interviews. I'm going to get her on to, we'll see.
Sierra, what are your feelings about the Canadian law that a certain amount of Canadian music must be played?
It's called CanCon, yeah. I've always liked it because I'm a CanCon lover. That syndicated show I talked about before was called the Cross Canada Report. There was an AC version, adult contemporary version, and then there was a rock version that I started doing after because I kept going, I'm not being true to myself because I'm a rocker, I should do a rock version. And back then, Canadian radio stations had to play 30% CanCon, Canadian content, which had to have 2 of 4 elements, producing, songwriting, lyrics, and where it was produced. So I devised this show where I could give radio stations a show completely of Canadian music. And then we also had a rule, which is long gone now, called foreground, which is you have to play a 15-minute chunk of music and talk about what the correlation of those songs within, I think it was 2.5 minutes, I forget, it's a long time ago. So I also had that in the show, and that's why the show did really well. It's not because of my announcing, because it was sucked back then. It was so bad.
Dale, where were you when you heard John Lennon died? Were you on the air at that time?
No, I wasn't in radio in 1980. I got in radio in 83. And I was upstairs on the 3rd floor of our apartment with my first wife, who Shannon knows very well, Lynn. And her brother called and told us, and it had just come on the TV. I wasn't watching that football game. I think it was Howard Cosell who said it. I don't know, where were you? Do you remember?
Probably in grade 4, maybe.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
No, you'd been... No,
19,
well, you'd be 10. You'd been
I'd be
10.
10, so I'd probably be about grade 4 or 5.
Yeah, she was 10 when I graduated.
That's
Awkward.
Awkward.
I didn't date her then, though.
Art says he's listening late night in the UK. Thank you for championing good music of yesteryear.
Thank you. What time is it there? I've done a few interviews at odd times with folks in the UK, but the weirdest time was talking to Graham Goebel of Little River Band. And I've still got another interview with him, by the way. We just went so crazy with LRB that we had to give it a rest a little bit. So I have another whole hour and a half. I think I talked to Graham for 3.5 hours. Just talking about life. He's a spiritual man. I'm not a religious man, but I like talking about religion, and I'm intrigued by what makes people tick or what makes people feel more grounded being here and their relationship with whatever's up there or wherever it is. Right? Graham's good for that.
Irina says, "Good evening. Do you talk about Kate Bush like a have now 3-year-old?"
I don't. I haven't done a video with Kate Bush since she released that live album a few years ago. That's the last time I was a big Kate Bush fan. But interestingly, I only liked the first 3 albums. I didn't love the albums, like Running Up the Hill and stuff. She loved that stuff. What is it, Cloud Busting?
Yeah.
That was a good video. Donald Sutherland.
That was really good.
Doom, 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 doom.
Michael says, good evening. Thank you two very much for doing your podcast. It would be awesome if you could interview Jeff Lynne.
I don't know if I could get Jeff Lynne. I've never tried, I don't think. When we first started doing this channel, I was out there a lot trying to get interviews, but the channel was new. And even though I'd been in radio, because sometimes you can get an interview if you're a real radio person, but YouTube's a different beast now, right? If you have a lot of hits, that's enough. But they'll still check you out to make sure you're not a schmo, that asks embarrassing, crazy questions. John Helliwell of Supertramp checked me out before he talked to me. He said, "Oh yeah, I saw your 25 Supertramp songs," and he was just a nice guy. But people check you out. Dennis Young checked me out before he reached out to me for an interview. I didn't ask him; he asked me. I mean, I asked for him before, but not directly through him. So the world's different now with TMZ. Not TMZ. TMZ just came out on the phone. The world's different now with YouTube because if you've got the hits, chances are you can get an interview unless you're a jerk. There's a few people doing what we do who just go out of their way to, and you know who they are, go out of their way just to be jerks, just to get hits, and you know who they are.
Gennaro says, love your style, and by your style I mean laid back and relaxing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, but again, I'll say, if it would have been, they used to call me 20 cups of coffee or 18 cups of coffee, Beaudin, when I first got into radio, because I was so uncomfortable in my skin.
And how many cups of coffee do you drink now?
1.
Yeah, but it's a strong one, coffee.
Triple espresso.
Yes. Jasonica PR says, hi, good to see you after your big move.
It was a heck of a...
Yeah.
Well, all of you have moved, right? You know how it is where you're going... You all have to look at your stuff and decide, even if you're moving into a bigger, well, maybe not. I don't know. Do you think you're moving to a bigger place?
It was moving across the country in 30 days. We sold our place. We had 30 days to be out. Thank goodness we could stay with my parents for 2 weeks, but literally out in 30 days and then wait for your stuff to come across the country. Everything, all your personal belongings, your vehicles, everything, and just to kind of have it time to get there on the day that you arrive. And we were one day off with our stuff arriving and 2 days with the car. So
yeah, a 20-foot thing, and then a box or a metal container, and you look at it and you go, there's no way. And any of you who've gone through it will know too. You look at it and you say, there's no way all our stuff will fit in there, and it didn't. But for the most part, the important stuff all fit.
I was so shocked because it was like a 20-foot long box.
It's like Tetris. You got to make everything.
And yeah, it was all like fitting little pieces together. And we thought, there's no way this stuff is going to fit.
We had professional movers come in to do half of it. Then I thought, I can do the rest. But there's no way I was as good as those guys. They were so incredibly, that's an art to it. I love people who can do things I can't do. I have such great respect for that. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, but then the stuff that we couldn't fit in, we ended up having selling everything like a yard sale and just getting rid of it. So that was kind of fun, right? Because after you've been in a place for 16, 17 years and downsizing, you're like, what stuff needs, but literally we had no choice. It wasn't like, are we going to keep it? Aren't we? We couldn't fit
it. And then when we shipped the cars out, we have 2 cars, and we were allowed to bring, she has an SUV and I have just a sedan, but they told us, well, I know it says in the disclaimer that you can't put anything in your trunk, but you can put up to 500 pounds, they said. And so we were able to put some stuff, records. My in-laws gave me a bunch of Elvis records because I was so ignorant when it came to Elvis as a teen.
So when everything was done and they came to take the big pod away, it was so heavy.
The front of the truck went like that. When they were bringing it up.
Like, is this normal? Is there like a weight restriction?
The guy said, no, as long as we can get it up. And it goes on the train anyway. The cars went on like a car carrier truck, across the country. And they were so dirty when we got them in. I've never seen my car that dirty ever. I clean my car a lot.
Jeffrey, hi. Hello from Louisiana.
Hi, Jeffrey.
How about an interview with Randy Bachman?
There's 2 interviews with Randy Bachman on the Canadian channel. And if you look up Rock History Music Randy Bachman or John Beaudin Randy Bachman, they'll all come up. So some of them are on the Canadian channel. I interviewed him when he was promoting a concert, I think, and it was on air live, so I couldn't really get a lot off because you got to keep things going on air. And then I kept interviewing him when the songs were playing off air. And then I said, walk him to the door. I said, geez, I wish we had more time. And he said, Neil Young and I are going to see the Shadows reunite in England. This is like 12 years ago. He said, here's my number. Give me a call on Thursday or something. I said, well, what time? Oh, I'm home all day that day, so just give me a call. And I called him, and we did another 45 minutes or something like that. So there's two. There's a live one, and then there's a phoner. But look up John Beaudin, Beaudin. Well, it's in the title. My name's in the title of the video. And yeah, you'll see it. I'd like to talk to him again, though.
DRMWVR. Have you talked to Gordon Lightfoot?
No, I'd like to. I don't think I'll ever get a chance to. I'm a big Lightfoot fan, from Summer Side of Life going into like the Sundown album, the Carefree Highway stage, all that stuff. I loved all that stuff. And I saw him in concert once. He was really good.
Charles O says interviewing Dennis DeYoung has been special.
Yeah, it was a real highlight for me. And the biggest part of it was, I'm sorry, I say this because it never happens, is he asked for me. And that just, I felt like a little kid. I don't usually feel like a little kid. As you can tell when I do my interviews, there's a part of me, and I told this to my brother, Charles, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. There is a part of me, though, when I'm talking to these people, that I know it's them, because they all look different. I look different than I did when I was listening to them back then. There's a part of me that doesn't truly understand that that's them. Like, that's Dennis DeYoung, or that's Steve Hackett. I'm such a big Steve Hackett fan, of Genesis. Or Kenny Loggins. There's a part of me that I don't know if I'm in denial of it. So I'm cool, but I don't really get nervous. I don't know why. Maybe it's a defense mechanism I formed unconsciously years ago. I don't know what it is. In person, it's a little different when they're standing in front of you. That's different. But these are all artists like this. They like this kind of Zoom thing. Not all of them want to be on camera, but they kind of think, well, I don't have to go to a TV station. It's kind of cool.
James Hu, question for you. What is your favorite format? Vinyl, compact disc, or streaming?
Vinyl now, because I've been playing. I was just playing. I'll be right back. I'll show you. Oh, I'm stiff. I've been playing stuff that... I've been playing Canadian things that some... And I know a lot of you are American because this is what I play today. Zon, Astral Projector. Let me see if I can get that. There we go. And this is the band. This is an underrated, a blue vinyl. Look at this. So I was just playing this. You were talking to your mother when I was playing it a little too loud.
Just a little.
This is another Canadian one that I was playing. Arrow's only released 2 albums. And this is a radio station copy. Believe it or not, I didn't get this from a radio station, but someone obviously sold them. There they are. But very 80s pop rock. And then this one, Trevor Spencer, Alan Tarney, Three's a Crowd. They used to test stereos with this album. And I remember asking the guy at Kelly's in Edmonton, why are you using such an unknown band to test an album? And he says, have you heard this album? And he put it on for me. And I couldn't believe how the sound quality and the drums and how crisp it is. And Alan Tarney ended up producing Cliff Richard. And if you listen to anything he's produced with Cliff Richard, the sound quality is amazing. Blah, 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 blah.
James says, hello guys, greetings from Florida. An interview with Eddie Jobson sometime?
I'd like to. I remember when he joined UK, I remember thinking, who is this guy? Yeah, he's played with a lot of people. Played with Zappa, didn't he? Yeah.
Rick says, "Hey John, you're a no schmo. You give a good interview and are engaging with whoever you are doing your interview."
Thank you. I appreciate that. But again, I don't want to take away. That's a really nice compliment. But if you do something 38 years, any of you guys have been doing, I'm sure, your jobs for a lot of years, and after a while, if you can't do it right, you're not going to get a lot of business, or else you're not going to be doing it right. So it's like anybody else. We were watching, some guy did our tiles this week, and he's not a young guy. Damn good looking guy he was. Guy looked like a brand new car. He looked like the Marlboro man came in and did our tiles. So even Shannon says, because we're not a jealous couple, she says, that guy's really good looking. I said, hey, he's a really good looking guy. But he was like a master.
And he did a great job.
He's a master. But he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah. Very talented.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But thank you.
Art says, a thought. Has Ian Anderson Tull got any greatness album up his sleeve?
I don't know if I asked him if he had, because we were doing the Aquilon thing. I don't know. His publicist is a publicist I work with a lot, which is why I think I've interviewed him how many times now? He's so charming. Some people don't like him. I don't know why. He's just so charming. They think he's stuck up. I don't think. I find him easy. Like he makes an effort. You know how it is when you go to a party and you don't know anybody, and then you meet someone and you can tell whether they know you're uncomfortable or not, they make an effort to make you feel comfortable. And when you meet someone and they make an effort, to me, Ian Anderson is like that. And he just knows how to tell a story,
And Dwayne, is an interview with Burton Cummings likely?
I've been trying.
And you have been trying.
I bet you Shannon could close that file.
I was going to say, let me try. Gennaro, have you ever bumped into a singer that you never expected to see in person?
Well, I said that last week, Paul Rogers, at an Alfie Zappacosta, a Canadian artist, because this has never happened before. Alfie, I introduced him on stage in Calgary, and then I just casually said, I'm flying to Vancouver, because that's where I do another radio show. I was doing one in Calgary, doing one in Vancouver at the same time. And I said, I'm going to Vancouver next week. He said, I'm going to Vancouver. And Alfie says, when are you going to be in Vancouver? And that ends up, I said, I introduced you on stage in Calgary. Let me introduce you on stage in Vancouver. So we went to the show. And, of course, he gave us really good tickets right in front. And right beside me, I'm looking and I'm going, I told Sharon, this guy looks like Paul Rogers. It ended up being Paul Rogers. Never met him.
Anthony asks, Tommy Shaw or Jack Blades?
Jack Blades, I've tried. Night Ranger. I don't know what happened. I specifically asked for Jack Blades. Tommy Shaw, I've never tried to get Tommy Shaw. I think he'd be a good interview. Yeah, or James Young from Styx.
Charles says, John, can you interview House of Lords?
I'm not familiar with them. Do I know them? I don't know if I know them.
Hi from Los Angeles. Hi, Carl. I enjoy your show very much. On my way to see the Eagles at the Forum and the Stones on Sunday.
Oh my God, good for you!
Nice.
Oh, we had a chance to see the Eagles because through all this Eagles stuff, we used to cover the Eagles a lot. Alan Fry became a friend of mine, Glenn Fry's brother. And Alan and I would talk all the time. Sometimes on Facebook, on Messenger, we talk every day. We haven't in a little while. But he offered us a friends and family discount to see the Eagles in Vegas. Was Vegas? Or LA?
No, it was in Vegas.
Yeah. But it was still too much money. We wouldn't have gone anyway. Didn't COVID hit?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think we would have gone anyway.
What happened to the following Canadian bands? Chilliwack, Aldo Nova, and Loverboy. All
still going. Aldo Nova, he had a new album, a year ago or something. I reached out to him. He got back to me. He says, where are you from? Who are you? And, normal questions. So I sent him a link to the channel, never heard back. Chilliwack, Bill Henderson, have I put that interview up? We've got 3 interviews with Bill Henderson. 2 that my friend who gave me all the interviews, Steve Burgess did, and 1 I did. Bill's a charming man. And who's the little lover boy? There's an interview with on this channel with Mike Reno. What's his real name, Shannon?
Mike Renoski. Little tidbit, he graduated from my high school. Probably about he was in 79 and I was 88, so yeah.
He was the same year as me, 79.
He was 79, yeah. I'm trying to look back because he used to have all the pictures, basically in the hallways, all up behind the glass, little school pictures, and we're going, Mike Vernosky, big kind of hair. And
They met Paul Dean of Calgary, and they formed. He was in Moxie first. They were a pretty big Canadian band, mostly in Texas and mostly in Ontario into the eastern provinces. And Earl Johnson, he's on our channel as well, from Moxie.
Dwayne says, I've seen Paul Rogers live and met him after the show. He was performing with Randy Bachman and Fred Turner. I've seen Randy Bachman 8 times live and met him. Wow.
Wow.
Have
I ever seen Randy? I only met him. He had just lost all the weight. And he's had that weight off for quite a few years now, but that's when, because he told me, I remember we were waiting to go on the air, he says, my daughter kind of got me to lose weight because she was worried about me. That's what he told me. Yeah.
Patricia's asking, could you do a show on all the new music being created after COVID?
I could. It's hard for me to do a lot of, like, we're thinking, I've asked a lot of, and you guys probably noticed, I've been starting to ask people, where do we go when we die? What's your take? Because, when I talked to Richie Furay and Rusty had died. And then I say this to every artist, the whole story. Oh, I started doing this. I don't know why I have to premise every question like that. Then I thought, well, I've got like 8 of them. Why don't I just do a video on that? And there's a part of me that's sort of hard. I can't seem to get to do those thematic things unless someone else writes them. And then finding the clips is very difficult. But you're asking me to do one on the music. Yeah, we don't really do that on this channel. And I'd have to start a new file in my head for that. But let me think about it.
New Avatar is asking, do you know when the new Honeymoon Suite album is coming out?
I thought it already came out, or they just released a song. I was just talking to Gary Green, the guitarist, Honeymoon Suite, his wife, a little while ago, because I'd like to promote their daughter. She's such a sweetheart. She's a wonderful, just a wonderful artist and talented. And she was a goalie when she played hockey, and we were sharing goalie stories. So we're just talking. They just got us tickets to my brother tickets to see them at a festival. I don't think they'd have that festival now because COVID's growing in this province.
Janara is saying, what is your favorite Elton John song?
All the Nasties from Mad Men Across the Water. It's a song about betrayal. And I say that because that's the song that I've, let me put it this way. I'm going to ask you, is there a song that you one day noticed that all your life, this is a song that you've sung in your head or out loud the most of all time? Some of you might know that consciously, I'm sure. A few of you might, for sure. One day I realized All the Nasties, the first few lines in All the Nasties is, for whatever reason, I have sung or hummed that or sang it in my head more than any other song. But Philadelphia Freedom is my favorite single. Because most of you won't, unless you're an Elton John fan, wouldn't know that. Shannon, do you have a favorite Elton John song?
Favorite one?
You're not a big Elton John person.
I am not.
Yeah. We'd be listening to Elton John in the car, and Shannon would go, "Oh, I like that one," but that was never on the radio, right? She always says that. She says, "What?" And then she'll go, "Why wasn't that song on the radio?" Hi, Danica. Oh, is it her meds?
Yeah.
Our daughter just came down, and sorry.
Okay,
and she reminds us, by the way.
Okay, let's go.
She reminds us when she has her medication, not the other way around. She's 23. For all of her life, it's been the other way around. But because now she's becoming a little bit more OCD, and in our case, it's kind of been a good thing. When she wakes up, she's too tired to know. But at 5 o'clock, she has meds, she reminds us. And she has Shannon's or my phone for 7 minutes to watch Barney videos. At 23, when you're autistic, that's normal. And then she'll have phone for 6-7 minutes at 7, and she has meds for her seizures at 8 o'clock. Well, they're all for her seizures. So that's how she is. She's just very OCD, but not in a really drive you crazy kind of way. Like, any of you read this book?
Yeah, later. Chase.
And Scott Peck? At one point, I don't think it is anymore. It used to be the biggest selling psychology book of all time. When I was going through my divorce, my first wife. Oops, sorry. Come on in, honey.
Sorry.
Someone told me my Catholic counselor. So it might be too religious-y for me now, but Chase said, "Is there a good psychology book I could read?" I said, "Well, I used to like The Road Less Traveled. I used to give it out to my friends." But I told him, I bought it for him. I said, "I'm not sure if I like it still, because I've read so many spiritual books since then." It's not a spiritual, well, it's a spiritual psychology book. So there you go.
Sierra says, "I love a Made in England album."
You know what? That one, I that's the one Elton John album I haven't had a lot of exposure to. I've heard it, but for whatever reason, I remember the first time I heard it, I remember thinking, and so many people rave about that album. I'm ashamed to say that I haven't deep dived into that one.
New Avatar says, "Are you a Thin Lizzy fan?"
Well, I had Jailbreak because everyone had Jailbreak because the boys are back in town. And even the song Jailbreak. What's the name of what's the one that came, Johnny and the Fox, or what was that album? I had that one. I didn't like that one nearly as much. And there was a third album I had the live album, but that's it.
Michael says, "I was a drummer during the LA music scene in the 80s. And Art says, "God, I miss the 80s. I love the 80s. I'm with you.
Well, Shannon's going to start writing a lot more about the 80s on our channel, and then if that goes well, then Shannon will start her. I know we said she was going to for sure, but last week when that person said a mean comment about her, what she looked like physically, which wasn't very nice. It was a cruel comment. You wouldn't say it to anybody, so it wasn't true. She asked me, she says, "Well, how many comments like that do you get?" I said, "Well, luckily in this channel we don't get a lot of that stuff because we like to play fair. So people don't go around attacking us. And you'll always get people who, well, in my case, not as much in your case, but that don't like your face or wish they would have been doing what you're doing. And you're always going to get in every job a little bit of jealousy. And then people just don't like your face. They don't say, "I don't like your personality." But that happens on TV.
I will have to interrupt you and say one thing I have noticed, even with a lot of your interviews that you have been doing, and then of course people comment on it.
People are pretty good.
People are really good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and if someone's calling an artist names, I'll erase those comments if it's a bad derogatory, if it's not called for, right? But when someone says, "Well, he sounds like a whiner," well, they're allowed to say that, But if they're attacking what the person looks like, I won't ban them unless it's heavily political. If someone's really political on our channel, we'll ban them. They're gone. We don't need that.
Dwayne says, "Do you like Rory Gallagher?"
The Nazareth guys, Dan McCafferty and I almost interviewed Manny Charlton, but Pete Agnew, they went on and on about Rory. And who else was it that, hold on, Joel Diamond. I think it was Joel Diamond, the writer, guy, publisher, who worked for so many artists. I'm pretty sure it was Joel that went on and on about, great guitarist, died too young.
Sierra says, "Can you talk about why Toto separated from Shem?"
I don't understand that story. I've talked to Lukather privately about it. I've talked to Shem privately about it. And both of them knew that I wouldn't pick sides. There was a lot of drama in that last Toto tour. Just a lot that they had some challenges. But I'm glad Luke and Joe are doing their thing. I have so much respect for them. I'm glad Shem just released a video of him doing music for a hair commercial. And I said, yeah, that guy still got it. I don't like picking sides with the guys, because Luke's my favorite guitarist of all time. But I'm a homer with Toto, so of course I'm going to pick him. But I just love the way he sings and the way he writes. And I like the fact that he's a no bullshit guy. You know, he's even got mad at me, you know, at times when, you know, he was disappointed, you know, with stuff I said. And that, you know, he's allowed to. And I don't take offense to that. So, hi Danica.
Ubuku is asking, do you like Pablo Cruz?
Yeah, we did an interview with him last year. We only put, I think, 1 or 2 parts of. What do you need, Didi? Yeah, Mom needs her phone.
Yeah.
You gonna say hi? There's our autistic wonder. Hi, say hi.
Hi.
She's not completely nonverbal, but yeah, Mom needs her phone, Cookie.
Yeah, later.
Later.
Yeah.
Later. Thanks.
Thank you. She uses sign language with it. So anyway, love the guys in total. I just hope that Steve and Joe play together for years to come. I really hope so.
Rick says, seems like you get mostly nice folks on here.
Yeah, I think but you know, I was talking about some of the, and I'm not talking about the Sea of Tranquility guy, the Pete Pardo. He's great. Most of the guys who do this are great, but then there's a few of them that just look for drama, and they're not in the group that I'm talking about. Who is it? Who's the big guy, the musician guy? I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, he's the biggest guy on here. He's the gray hair, you know, used to record a lot. He's like just bar none, one of the greatest people doing this kind of stuff. What?
JF says, hi Danica, new avatar, says she's very cute, adorable. And Sierra says, I have a special needs son too.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. It's so common now when you consider 1 in 10 kids are in the autism spectrum. And then you look back, you know, when we had an autistic kid, we look back and we started going, oh, that kid I went to school with, not that it was autism back then, but some kind of semblance form of that. That guy was different. I have a best friend now people have told him he's in the spectrum. He's my age.
JF says, special needs daughter here too, 19-year-old with Down syndrome.
Oh.
Wish the world had her disposition, we'd all be better off. Right?
Oh my God, isn't that true?
Right?
Because when Danica's mad, she gets it out of her system. Sometimes she gets really mad because she can have psychotic episodes. But for the most part, if you want a happy daughter, she's so much happier than she would ever be if she was normal functioning.
Super happy.
So we hang on to that, right? The fact that she's at least she's really happy, a happy person.
Yeah.
You want a happy daughter.
Have you tried to Zoom with Leyland Sklar?
Leland Sklar, I've tried a couple of times, but I tried on Facebook, and then I got a hold of him, I think, through his website, and I know he knows who I am, but no bites. Maybe he was just busy. We almost wrapped up. Cookie. I call Shannon Cookie all the time. I always call her Cookie. When we have a lot of workers coming in here, and they'll notice me I call her Shanny. I call her Cookie.
Shanny Poo Head.
Shanny Poo Head.
There's like so many versions.
But it's a term of endearment. I know we don't.
I don't know about the Poo Head one. I don't think that's too.
When we first met, we went through things. In '97, we first met. We went through. I said one thing I don't like is when couples go to parties and they're passive aggressive with each other and they're like pick at each other in that kind of passive aggressive way. I said, please let's never do that. And luckily we never have. I said, I can't take jealousy. I'm going to see women who are better looking than you. You're going to see a lot more men that are better looking than me. Go to town. You know, you can tell me they're beautiful, and we've always been really good about that. But you know, you guys probably have your own relationship rules. Of course you do. Where there's things, and then if something comes on in the car, I suggested this, and she said, oh my God, I love that idea. That if one person in the car doesn't like it, you flip the channel. No questions asked.
But it gets to the point now where you know the person's going to like it or not.
Yes,
so
yes.
If you want to be passive aggressive, you just turn it up. Because you know it's going to hate it. I'm sorry.
I can't listen to New Country. That's the thing. I can't. And she likes New Country, but she says I can listen to it on.
You know what? I never liked country, not the twangy stuff, but as I'm getting older, I'm like,
she likes it.
I do.
And you don't like something or you don't. I mean,
and the lyrics are almost pure, very simple, right? You know, Boy meets girl, or lost your dog. Or...
Well, someone, do you see that thing on Facebook the other day? Someone said, why is new country music, the man's always got the chick, and he's got the truck, and she's got shorts on, and the girl's all about killing the man and burying him in the backyard.
Keying the car.
Keying the car. Oh, God. Some of it's, some country I do like. There's country in there, but it's all traditional stuff.
New Avatar says, who would you like to interview most?
Paul McCartney.
Have you interviewed Randy Meisner or Don Felder?
No, I've tried Don Felder. I've interviewed Randy Meisner. The longest interview, I think it's the longest, on the internet with Randy Meisner is mine. And I interviewed Bernie Ledden and Jack Temchin, who was Glenn Frey's songwriting partner, and Glenn Frey's brother, Alan Frey. I've interviewed him twice. And there's someone else in there. And it's really nice of her. Don Henley's wife supports our channel. She actually sent us a donation once, which was nice. It wasn't a big one. We didn't expect that. But it was a token for her to just tell us that, you know, she's a beautiful woman. Nice lady.
Fraser J says, hope you guys are settling in the East Coast. All the best from England. Hi, Fraser.
Hey, Fraser.
Samantha says, hi, guys. So good to see you. Ubuku. Do you like classic country? And if so, who?
Yeah, Waylon Jennings and Don Williams, who like Don Williams was like what's the name of the guy? I hate when you get older. You got to say crooner. You always sang. It was like, oh God, I can't. Perry Como. Don Williams like the Perry Como of country music, and he was so laid back. So I like him. Willie Nelson, of course. You know, I like the. I enjoyed the Ken Burns country special. I thought that was great when they talked about the Grand Ole Opry and moving it, and it was awesome.
Gennaro says, John, you're the real deal. May God bless you and Cookie and Danica.
Thank you. That made me smile.
New Avatar said, I would like to see you interview Tom Schultz.
Schultz, yeah. I used to say Schultz all my life, and I think probably a lot of you did too, unless you got that. You know, I was going to do a thing. I just said I wasn't going to do a series on stuff, but people whose names were mispronounced. And now and then I'll get a chance to interview them. And Tom Schultz is a major name because I've said Tom Schultz all my life until I got into, maybe a few years before I got into radio. Someone corrected me at a party. Yeah, that was very humbling. I said, hey man, I'm a big time radio guy. And I wasn't even in radio yet, but I was in radio school. And he corrected me, he says, listen, here's the album. Does that sound like Schultz to you? And I went, oh my God, just jerk.
Sierra says, yeah, Neil Peart is mispronounced the most.
Neil Peart, yeah. Eart. You know, I was told in radio, and then I forgot about it. Everyone said Peart. Yeah, Pert. It was Pert first. Everyone said Pert. Then Peart. But
Barry says hi from Australia.
Hey!
I don't want to say it. Barry H says Ray.
Ray Davies?
Yeah, always mispronounced. I was going to say Davies, but like...
Yeah, and his brother, who he turned into a cliche with the Davies brothers, and they're fighting, you know, the Gallagher brothers. I wonder if the Nelson brothers, Ricky Nelson's sons, fight. Being in a band with your brother's got to be a tough thing. At times, I would take. I don't know. I could have been in a band with my older brother, my younger brother in a second, Charles. Charles and I get along really well. My older brother, we lost him a few years ago.
Timaeus is asking, who is an artist that was the hardest to interview? Maybe they were just Shirley or didn't give much, didn't want to be there, etc.
For the folks who have heard this story 1,000 times, and listen, I don't mind you asking, it's a great question. It was Joshua Morrow of Young and the Restless. Yeah, I know he's not an artist, but at that time he was. Who's he playing? Do you know who he plays?
I don't.
We don't watch soap operas. And Eddie Cibrian, who is the actor who's married to Leanne Rimes. I think they're married now. I don't know. They're together. They were in a band called Three Deep with a Canadian person. God, I gotta remember his name. He was very nice, and all they did was fool around and act like jackasses. to the point, and I brought my 12-year-old son, who's going to be 40 soon. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I just realized. Anyway, off top. But he looked at me and he says, "Are they supposed to? Are they like jerks?" But he took a picture with them, and I stopped the interview and I said, "Guys, if you don't want to do this, we don't have to do it." Did I already say that? Because I've told this story so many times. And Miles Goodwood probably was a little, as we say in this house, we use the word munchy when Danica's a little. But he was hungover, and he just said, I don't feel like doing this, but you sound like you know a lot about the band, so you've obviously followed us for a long time. Let's get it over with, or let's get it done. And I went, well, I appreciated his candor, and Miles Goodwin was one of my all-time favorite musicians, so good for him.
Fraser J says, do you ever get starstruck when doing interviews and you stumble on your words? I love the Steve Lukather, Bill Chaplin, Kenny Loggins, etc. my heroes. P.S. Thanks for the shout out.
No, I don't know why I don't. In person I might, but I haven't done an in-person interview in a while.
That was interesting because when we were driving in the car about 2 days ago, our son Chase was saying, so like, you know, when you're having these interviews with these, you know, celebrities, so to speak, you're just so calm and just so like it's just two guys talking. And John's like, yeah, because it's two guys just talking.
Because two guys talking. If I'm nervous, they're going to get nervous. And you might think, no, they don't get nervous. If I'm out there, there's a thing that a pet peeve of mine when someone's interviewing them and all they go is, yeah, yeah, and you learn a long time ago, that's the benefit of being in radio. Shut up. Let them talk. If there's gaps in the conversation, that's a pregnant pause. That's a good thing. If you ever listen to the radio and you hear an announcer and he has sort of a different style in talking because he's comfortable in his body, and that makes people stare at the speakers when they're going, what? When you're not talking constantly. And that makes people feel comfortable. So, and then also when you're serious with them and you're not trying to be funny all the time, I think they appreciate that too, because everyone's trying to be their best friend, and they get bored with that because that's not being cool. That was a long answer. That was a crazy answer.
Hi, Adam Parrish. Hi, John. Loved your interview with
Graham Gouldman.
Yeah, on the Rock History Music Channel. I was lucky enough to see his solo UK tour last week, and he played a couple of tracks from
Modesty Forbids. Yeah, that was such a good album. I was so surprised at how good it was. I just loved it. I think I might have told him, because he knows Steve Lukather through touring with Ringo Starr. I said, you're like Steve Lukather of Toto, where you can still write songs that are so relevant, sound like they're in the pocket of the greatness of the band. You won't release new music under 10cc, but he goes, truly tour with them. Yeah, nice guy. I really enjoy talking to him. I just so, I know we didn't become friends, but at the end of that interview, I felt like I got a friend, you know, and that's all you get usually out of that, but that's fantastic. I felt good.
Jeremiah's asking, love the conversation. Have you ever spoken with Jimmy Buffett?
Jimmy Buffett?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, remember Jimmy Buffett's story? So, there was a guy, Kirk Hansen used to be on the air before me. He was doing afternoon drive in Vancouver, and I would come on at 6 o'clock after him. And he purposely, and I'm not sure why he did this, Kirk had this beautiful low voice. If anybody's ever been in Vancouver, they probably know Kirk. And anyway, he left radio years ago, as far as I know. I hope he's still alive. I haven't talked to him in years. But he'd go on there and purposely mispronounce people's names. And he'd go, here's Jimmy Buffet, that's Buffet. Well, you just got it wrong when you said it too.
I stumbled because I remember saying it.
Yeah. Jimmy Buffet, that's Buffet. He'd say that. It's so funny. But eventually they fired him because he can't do that. Jimmy Buffet.
Michael says, any older interviews with the Monkees?
No, I don't think we have one in the can from Steve Burgess either, the guy who gave me all the interviews. We really, really need to get those interviews up. I told Steve I was going to put them up. And then Len Tucson, who's my former boss, my first boss, he got me into radio. Gave me some interviews, and I know it sounds crazy. I haven't gone through the box. There's 3 boxes he gave me. One was Rolling Stone interviews, so I can't really air them because I don't know all of them. They used to lease them out to radio stations, so you could play Rolling Stone interviews if you pay a monthly fee on your radio station. So I've got tons of those, but I don't own them, so I can't put them on.
Sean says, "Oh my gosh, I just accidentally ran across this. Hey guys, I love your posts, especially the ones on Toto. Just want to tell you I miss the original closing music that you used for your older post."
It's on, you know, the name, the original post, posting music, on the bottom of the description of every one of them, I have to place who that is. Not, the new one I don't have to. They don't care. But some music that you get off YouTube for free, you have to give credit for, and others you don't. And the reason I switched is because I wanted something different, and I didn't want to forget that, oh, so-and-so owns this, and because I could get in trouble if I don't post who it is, and the new one I don't have to.
Would Sarah says, would you interview another radio guy like Howard Stern or Jim Ladd?
I don't think I'd get Howard Stern. I don't think radio guys almost always say yes, because they're always doing the interviewing, and they're never the interviewee, right? So almost all of them say yes. I've been thinking of tracking down, I've said this for years now, the original VJs for Much Music. We're all on Sirius XM now. I've been thinking Alan Hunter, and I have to change my file to be able to do that, to get into that mindset.
Keith is asking, thanks so much for the great interviews with Rick Emmett.
Thank you.
And
remember, he's coming on again on Thursday.
And Mike Levine of Triumph.
Yeah.
At the risk of being greedy, any chance you will interview Gil Moore, Triumph's drummer?
I've tried. I haven't gotten him yet. Yeah. So.
Timaeus, really like the prog stuff. The Albert Bouchard interview was really cool. Yeah. How was he?
He's just a nice man. He's just a genuinely beautiful human being. His brother's the same way. Just nice people to talk to.
Have you heard Graham's Love and Work album, which he released a few years ago?
I don't think so. I might have. I don't think so. I'll check it out on Spotify though.
Hey, Charles Beaudin said I have 3 Scott Peck books.
Hey, I'm Scott Peck. That's my brother. Hey, bro. I was hoping Charles would, Charles. I always called, whenever I think of my brother, I called him Chase, and I called my brother, I called Chase Charles. I don't know why this happens all the time. I don't usually do that with anybody else, but constantly. So, anyway, yeah, my bro's a cool guy. He's a good man. Really proud of him. What do you got? We're going to wrap things up.
Yes, you should
Time to have a beer.
You should try and arrange an interview with Rick Wakeman.
I've been trying the more grumpy old man tour or whatever. I'm in contact with his publicist, but he's just going off now. Isn't he going off and doing it now? So I don't think that's going to happen. She tried for me. I tried before. I'd love to talk to him. John Anderson told me a story because one of you guys asked me to ask him, do you remember any good jokes from Rick Wakeman? Because he's a comedian. He's a musician, but he's really funny. John Anderson's answer was, yeah, he's told me a lot of jokes. He tells me the same ones over and over again. And I went, well, our minds are not getting any younger. Okay, we're going to wrap it up.
One more here, Dragon Gerald B. Let me ask you both, do you think new music is worse than like 60s, 70s, and 80s?
Oh, God, yeah.
By the way, I love your content, just need to reset it because of the YouTube algorithm.
You need to what?
Reset it because of the YouTube algorithm.
Algorithm. She wrote it wrong. I don't reset it? I'm not sure what you mean by that. But our hits are down. But it's also because there's a lot more people doing what we do, and I'm not doing new music news as much anymore, and that's the stuff that gets a lot of hits. And I don't always feel like going in front of the camera. This way, at night, at 8 o'clock my time, I'll usually put Atlantic time. I'll usually put a new video up But we have so many in the can that we've got to start putting them up earlier and programming them all. By the way, I saw that comment. Martha Quinn would be a good interview. Yeah, she'd be great. I had such a crush on her, but every guy did, you know, because she didn't look like the normal kind of beauty queen video vixen. She was presenting the videos, not in them, but she had that kind of look, and she was refreshing, I think, because of her personality and because she didn't look like that. You know, she had her own kind of beauty, and she was smart, just smart on her feet. All those VJs were so smart on their feet.
Jerry C is saying, "Are you guys pretty much settled in a new place?" We are. Probably about a month and a half in now.
We want to get the siding done of our house, but they're all telling us you have to wait till next year. And so we're going to get the indoor painted though. The entire house is being painted because this color has just got to go. Everyone's had some interesting names for the color last week.
I know. And yes, when it's finally all done, we'll be doing a little tour.
Yeah, we'll give you a little tour. Yeah.
Show us like.
Yeah, but we.
Sierra says you must be used to the ambulances now. You know what? Having
hear
the EMS right behind the trees, and of course, as it gets colder and the leaves fall, you'll see it a little bit more. But we don't hear anything.
No, they're not allowed to put their ambulance. So I've heard 2 ambulances in 2 months, and one was in the neighborhood because someone was having a heart attack or something. So we don't hear them. But in the morning though, and we have AC, and we just got it in because we had AC in Calgary. We're used to it. If you're outside in the morning with the traffic, you hear the highway. But at night, it's you can't hear anything. I'd open the window, you can't hear anything. It's just really quiet. So we're gonna go. Thank you. Hey, buy a T-shirt. Buy a T-shirt. Help support the channel. There's 3 different T-shirts. Well, by the way, you can buy an economy T-shirt if you want. I don't suggest that, but if you want to, this is kind of like a mid-range.
The mid-range, and it washes well. It doesn't shrink up to like a little half shirt.
Yeah, because I've worn this one like, I don't know, 50 times. And so you can buy different qualities. You can buy socks, you can buy all kinds of stuff. But you know, if people are always saying, "Hey, how do I support your channel?" Well, you can always give us a donation on PayPal. That's in every video, not this video, but every video has a PayPal link if you ever want to do it. You don't have to if you want to, but buy a T-shirt. You know, you can get Rocky Street Music, Rocky Street Book, Rocky Street Canada. They're all professionally made. Like an artist did this. A logo maker made this. I designed it. He made it pretty. So that's what we do. Yeah. So that's it.
Thanks for joining us.
Over and out.
Until next time.
Till Friday. Till next Friday. Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
See ya.